Hi, today the SmokeFire from Weber got delivered to my garage. It's an E6 model, the larger one. The whole thing came on a pallet and the sticker says that it's 204 pounds. So it's pretty heavy. I just removed the pallet from underneath and it had some stretch wrapping. I removed it. I'll be just opening the box. It has some easy way to open it. You don't have to tear it apart. You can just open these. The way you open them, you just push them together and you can just simply pull it out. There are 3 of them, 3 on every side. Once you do that, you can lift the box. I'm gonna lift it and let's see what's underneath. So I just lifted the box, came off really easy, and it has some packaging material just to keep the grill from being damaged during the shipping. What I'm gonna do now is just prepare for the assembly. I'll take off all the boxes, set them to the side, and then I'll be following the instructions step by step. Okay, so I removed most of the boxes, actually all of them, except box A. Box A is sitting deep inside. You can see it from here, so it's hard to remove. I removed all the other boxes. You can see from B all the way through H sitting here. They have the bolts and screws and other equipment right here in this bag inside box number B. Right here you can see my pellets that I got from Weber. It was free of charge. I bought my grill through Weber. One thing you have to notice is you have this end here and you can see this yellow paper that says basically do not remove this protective end pad until after the legs are assembled. I'm going to be following now the instructions one by one. I have a Phillips screwdriver ready and it came with an Allen key that I will be using for the assembly. I'm going to be now following the steps in the assembly line, in the assembly instructions, in the assembly manual, and I'll be saying step 1, 2, 3, and so forth. I'll be writing them on the screen so that it's going to be easy to follow if somebody does not want to watch the whole video and just is interested in seeing any specific step. The steps, the numbers you'll be seeing on the screen, they correspond to the steps in the assembly manual. I'll be just assemble the side of this box. It's easy. You can just push this one to the side and it opens out really easy. This one is the same way. And we'll do all the other 2 corners. Okay, step 1 is now completed. I just did the other 2 corners just like we did the first 2. Right now, I'm going to be going to step number 2. Okay, we'll do step number 2 now. I'm going to get some help and carry it from here and make it stand on this side. So that's why we're leaving this protective padding. This will be the base of it. We're going to do this step so that we can assemble the legs. Okay, now the grill is standing on that pad and the instructions say to insert box number E under the wood pellet hopper. So I'm gonna do that right now. This is just a measure of safety and to provide some stability for the grill. So step number 2 is now completed. Step 3 now is to match every leg with the proper location. They have labels here, so this is a yellow star. It goes where the yellow star is, and you can see on every side. This one is a red triangle and this leg has a red triangle. In my case, only the top two legs, they have their labels. The bottom two, I could not find labels. However, in the assembly instructions, it's very clear that if the top has a star, yellow star, then the bottom should go with the red triangle and vice versa. So I'm gonna match everyone with its proper leg, and then we'll move on to step number 4. Okay, I'm gonna combine now steps 4, 5, 6, and 7 together. The reason for that is these 4 steps, 4, 5, 6, and 7, they correspond to the 4 legs that we have here. However, one thing to notice is that on the front legs, the front ones are the ones away from the hopper. So these are the rear legs, and these are the front legs. The rear ones are under the hopper, the front ones are under the door. The instructions say that on the front ones, we should only put the top screw and not tighten it all the way, just halfway. Whereas for the rear 2 legs, we should put both screws each and tighten them all the way. I will be using the Allen key provided by Weber. I will not be using any power tools. So I'll be starting with this first one and following the instructions. I'll be just putting the top screw and not all the way, just halfway. You don't need to use the Allen key since it can go halfway just by hand. So now we have the front legs assembled. These are steps 4 and 5, and you can see that I did not tighten the screw all the way in. I just used my hand to tighten it halfway. Right now I'll be assembling the rear legs, and these ones you should tighten both screws all the way in. So I'll be putting the both rear legs all the way in. These are steps 6 and 7. I'll combine them together. Okay, so I'm tightening now both screws on the rear legs, and I'm tightening these all the way using that Allen key, but I'm not using any power tool, and I'm not really trying to over tighten it. I'm just tightening it, just make it hand tight. I'm just tightening the whole thing all the way, trying to be careful not to scratch the body of the grill. It has a very nice finish. I will hate to scratch that nice finish. So I'm just tightening it, and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, I'm gonna move now to steps 8 and 9. In box number D here, you have the 4 wheels, and the 4 wheels are not the same. You have 2 wheels with a locking mechanism. You can see it here. So locking mechanism, and 2 wheels without a locking mechanism. The way they are supposed to go per step number 8 is the 2 wheels with the locking mechanism should go on the front legs of the grill. So the 2 ones with the locking mechanism will go right here on this one and on this one, and the 2 wheels without the locking mechanism will go on the rear legs, this one and this one. As you can see, this wheel has a threaded rod. It goes right here. It's really easy. You can just put it in and thread it in place. I'm holding it with one hand, holding the camera in the other hand, and I'm showing you how I'm tightening it. I'll just take it all the way in I'll just keep it hand tight. There is no need to make it any tighter. Step 10 now is to lock the front wheels. You can see this locking mechanism. It's really simple. You can see the on and the off and the on. So right now the brake is on, the lock is on, the wheel is not moving. If you rotate this, it's rotating freely. So I'm gonna apply the brakes on the top one as well as on the bottom one. They ask you to lock this so that when you flip it back on its legs, it does not move on you. It's an added safety feature while you're doing the assembly. The next step I'm gonna do right now, step 11, is to remove these extra supports. I'm gonna throw them in the box. I'm gonna need some help here from my son, and he's gonna help me. Just please pull that one there, that box, that support. Can you go and pull it, please? Good job. And now we'll also remove all the supports, and the last thing I will do is to remove box number E. I'm gonna remove this box now, and that's step number 11. The next step is to turn it back on its legs. Okay, so step number 12 is to set it back on its wheels. You can see that the grill now is sitting on all its 4 wheels, and I'm gonna move to the next step here, step number 13, which is to remove this padding here. Okay, I'm gonna move on now to step number 14. Basically, I need to get the front bracket from box number B. This is box number B. I'm gonna get this bracket and try to put it in place. Okay, so I'm trying to assemble this. This is basically where the grease and dust box drawer is gonna go. You can see it's really easy. There is a notch here, and it goes over the screw, the bolt that was half tightened. This is the one side, and you can see now on the other side, you can see it too. It goes in place like this, and now you can center the hole in this bracket with the bottom hole on the leg. Okay, the next step, step number 16, is to remove this attachment here. It's a stainless steel attachment. It's all shiny. This is where the ash and grease drawer goes in. It instructs you to remove the drawer out of the housing and then installing the housing in the next step. The next step now, step 17. I believe if there is any one tricky part in this whole assembly, it's this one, although it's not really hard. Basically, that's when we're putting in the housing for the grease and ash drawer. We're putting it in place. Notice that on this side there are 2 holes. This is the side of the drawer, and there are 2 holes. You can see these 2 holes here. I'm gonna align these 2 bolts housing and these 2 bolts housing with these 4 ones. You can see this is really actually easy. And here there is a bracket. You need to align it with this hole, just like that. And on the other side, you do the same thing. I don't know if the lighting is good now, but you can see that I have aligned the hole with the hole in this housing with the hole on the side of the grill, and all 4 bolts are aligned. I'm gonna just put the screws now there and tighten them. Okay, so I'm putting the first bolt right here, and I'm making sure that the bolt goes in straight. Please notice that there is some felt here. That felt, I'm thinking it's there to prevent any smoke leak. It's a nice design point from Weber. You see this felt, and this whole housing goes tight against that felt to prevent any leakage. So I'm gonna tighten this one all the way in and then move to the next bolt. So I have tightened this bolt here and the other bolt on the other side. I'm now gonna move to the 4 front bolts, and that will be the next step, step number 18. Okay, I'm now gonna move on to the next step, which is to tighten all 4 bolts on the front of the drawer housing. That is step number 18. We are putting the 4 bolts. I just put in this one. I'm gonna put this one in. I'm gonna tighten them by hand, then use the Allen key to tighten them all the way in. Again, do not use any power tools. I'm missing one bolt. Oh, I found it. Now I'm just gonna tighten them, all of them, and that's it. Okay, now we move on to step number 19. My daughter here, she's gonna be putting in that grease pan where it belongs. Can you please do it, honey? Great job. Notice how she put the edge there. She aligned the edge. Now she's gonna put the disposable pan right inside. Yep. Great job, honey. Thank you. And that is the end of step number 19. Sorry, step number 19 actually. We just have to put the drawer all the way in to complete the step. And that's very easy. You can see the drawer goes in and out really easy. Just make sure that the grease pan is actually attached. The bracket is connected so it does not move, and put the drawer all the way in, and that is now the conclusion of step number 19. Okay, this is now step number 20. It's basically for the side handle. They have 2 brackets. If you look at the side here, it looks like a triangle. If you look here also, you can see it's like a triangle, so you actually just drop it in place. Same thing with the other one here, and we use for the 4 screws. These are the 4 stainless screws, and we just put the handle and put the 4 screws in. You can see it's really a very easy job. Again, I'm just tightening the screws by hand, then I'm gonna use my Allen key to tighten them. We can put the other side now. Okay, so I'm just trying to finish tightening all these 4 screws. I tightened 2, this is the 3rd, and now I'm verifying that even the 4th one is actually tight. Again, don't over tighten, no need for that. And this will conclude step number 20. To start the next step, which is step number 21, to assemble the front handle, we need to remove all these stickers so that we can open the door. And that's some strong tape over there. And you can see we can now open the grill. Okay, now I'm gonna assemble the front end handle. You can see here we have this, I don't know what to call it, I'm gonna call it just attachment. And we have here the long bolts with their washer, the washer and that other smaller washer. So it goes like this. The black end goes into the smaller hole like this, and I'm gonna assemble. There is a hole where that attachment goes in, and from the inside it's kind of tricky if you're just working by yourself, but it's doable. Okay, so the first side is done. I'm gonna do the same thing with the other one. So this column of plastic goes inside the handle. You know it's in when it cannot rotate. It's locked, and this goes inside the other hole, and I put in the other screw. I'll go ahead now and use my Allen key to tighten it. So I tightened the first one, I'm tightening the second one. And you can feel and hear the metal, so don't over tighten. And I'm gonna call this tight. Now you can see how the whole assembly opens and closes. It feels kind of flimsy, not too flimsy, but not as sturdy. I have a Weber Genesis propane one. It feels sturdier than this one, but it is what it is. So this is flimsier than what I was hoping, but it will do the job. Okay, the next step, step 22, is to remove the 4 bolts holding the back door for this one. The idea for the next several steps, I believe from step 22 all the way into step 28, is to actually install the glow plug. This is the plug that will provide the heat to burn the wood pellets. So in the next few steps, we'll be installing this glow plug. Step number 22 is to remove these 4 bolts. I'll be removing them and we'll see what's behind that door. Okay, so now the 4 bolts are off, and I just remove the door. Okay, so if we look carefully here, we see different wires. Some are going to the DC motor, some are going to the blow fan, and some are going to the blow plug. The blow plug is this part right here. You can see there is a screw here. So I follow this red and black wires. They come into this smaller one. Notice there's a bigger one, a bigger connector, and a smaller connector. I'm gonna go and disconnect the smaller one, the red and black ones that go into this blow plug. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect it. You can see you just push this plastic here and it releases them from both each other. Now I can release this black and red, and all I have to do now is to come and remove this bolt here, and that will free the blow plug assembly. Okay, I'm taking it out and it comes out fairly easy. Notice that the whole assembly comes out. This is where the blow plug will go, and this is the red and black wire I just disconnected. Okay, so step number 23 was to take out the blow plug assembly. Step number 24 is to put in the blow plug that came in box number B, put it in place. You can see here there is a notch. This notch will click into this end. This is the part that gets hot. This is the part that goes in, and you can just push it in I don't know if the click was audible on the video or not, but there was a very audible click in as this went inside. So this is just now all the way in. Okay, so step 25, to allow the blow plug, think about this. The blow plug has to come through this hole here. You can see here 2 notches at the ends of this. This is basically the grates for the wood pellets. I'm gonna put them in, and if you look carefully inside here, you can see that there are 2 notches on the left and right here. So I'm gonna align the 2 notches right here, basically this notch and this notch, to go into the 2 notches on the left and right of the screen. While I'm doing that, I'm careful that the hole is towards the back of the grill. When it is sitting properly, the notches on the grates are exactly inside the notches on the right and left. It's sitting, actually, it's very sitting really good. It's not moving. There is not much play there. Now, this is the fire pot. You see an orange dot here and an orange dot here. I'm assuming that they have to align together. So I'm gonna put the fire pot, and it sits very tight and sits properly now where it belongs, under the conveyor. Of course, there will be a slide for the pellets, but that is in the next step. Okay, so I'm putting it through the hole. I think it's in, but there is only one way, which is to go above and back to the front and try to see if it came up through that hole. Now I'm ready to go ahead and attach the electrical wiring for the glow plug back in and put the door back. Okay, so I'm gonna just put it back in. You can see the plastic tips where it's supposed to go. It's a quick connect, and that's it. So I'm gonna just now put the door and the 4 screws back. Oh, before I did that, I need to make sure I put this screw back. That's the screw that is holding the glow plug assembly. Okay, it's in and it's tight. Just one more time, verifying that the glow plug is still coming through that hole into the fire pot. I did not move it while I was actually tightening that screw. Just as a hint, the steps I just performed, the past few steps, opening the door and getting the glow plug assembly out, this is the procedure that we will need to follow if we have to replace the glow plug. The glow plug will not last forever, so anytime you need to replace that glow plug, these are the steps you have to follow. Now we're ready to finish the installation by putting the door back in. Notice the notches here on both sides. This is how you put it back in. And we just need to align the 4 bolts. I'll start doing that now. Okay, I'm now just tightening the bolts with the screwdriver. You don't need to over tighten them, because I suspect that this door will need to be taken in and out several times during the life of this grill, at least to replace the glow plug, which I can't imagine will last for several years. I think it's going to be a very frequently replaced item. I don't know how long, depends how often you use it. Okay, the door is back in, and we're done with step number 28, ready to move on to step number 29. Okay, step 29 is to put the pellet slide that we got out of box E, put it between the tip of this is the discharge of the conveyor of the screw or the auger, whatever you want to call it, and the fire pot. It goes like this, and we're using, you know, you have it right because you need the two bolts to align. Okay, I'm just tightening these two bolts, not too tight. Okay, so the wood pellets now can slide from the discharge of this auger right into the fire pot. Okay, step number 30 is to get this baffle here, the heat baffle, that goes directly on top of the fire pot out of box number H. It is very oily. I think they greased it. I'm gonna just wipe it. I don't want to smell all that oil burning when I start it. And it does not have any notches or any specific place to sit, but it sits easily right on top of the fire pot. I'm just cleaning the inside of it. Some dust came out of it, oily dust. I also don't want to smell that, so I'm just trying to wipe it as we go. Okay, now it's time for step 31. We need to install the racks that will be holding the flavorizer bars and the heat shield. This can be a tricky step. If you look at the size of the grill, you can see these pieces here, this part here, and on the other side you can also see this part. From the inside you can also see this part here and a fourth one right here. This is on top of this. That's where the parts in step number 31 are supposed to sit. Okay, I'm gonna start putting it right now. As you notice, I come and they just latch to the pieces I just show you. They sit really easy. Notice that this is where the flavorizer bars, 3 on this side will sit and 3 on this side will sit, and that's where the heat shield will sit. Now I brought the other one and they will sit opposite of them. And that's it. At this point here, and before I go to the next step to put in the flavorizer bars, I'm seeing some dust, and I don't know if it's sand grains or whatever inside the grill. This is a good time to wipe it off before we put the flavorizer bars and we lose access to this. Okay, I'm gonna proceed to step number 32 now. I'm gonna put this heat shield. You can see exactly where it's gonna sit, right above the heat baffle, which is above the fire pot. This is a very familiar step to anybody who owns a Weber grill. These are the flavorizer bars. They're not directional, so you can set them any way you want. Three on each side. These are nice stainless steel flavorizer bars. Okay, and that will conclude step number 32. Okay, this is step 33, just putting the top grades. And you can see where they're sitting. This is the thermocoupler, the thermometer. It is sitting right above the grade level, which is a good thing. sitting right exactly where the meat will sit. And the last one. Okay, there is some play in this. It's not 100% tight. You can see I can move the whole thing. You can build about 1 inch gap between them, but that's not a big deal really. So you can move the 3 grates any way you want. I just need to put in the top shelf and that will be it. Okay, now we're putting the top shelf. It's a nice one, but because as you can see, you can push it all the way back or you can bring it up and it will, there are stops here on both sides. So you can put it back and forth. That will conclude step number 33. Okay, now my kids will just finish the assembly by taking off that tape of the protective padding on top of that hopper. It's okay guys. Yeah, you can open it and pull it out. Good job. We can see now this is the wood pellet hopper, and this will actually conclude the whole assembly of this grill. It looks nice. Step 34 is just to make sure that all the bolts are tight and everything looks fine, which it does to me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll be making another video soon to start up this one, and I'll be testing the evenness of the temperature distribution within the grill. So watch out for the next video. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, watch out for the next couple of videos. I'll be cooking with this video. I'll be making some steaks, some briskets, some even ethnic food. If you did not notice, I have an accent coming from the Middle East, and that's the food I'll be cooking in addition to some traditional American barbecue. Thank you and enjoy your pellet grill.